Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Heroic versus Rogue is up next. Yet another piece of the puzzle that is the top 4 fight. 3 games. This Playday number 7 are linked to it. Only one team has made it out to Berlin just at this moment. That's Wolves. Congratulations to them. But one of these 2 teams won't be able to lock it in today, but they'll be getting quite far ahead, especially when they are both in the top 4 currently. Welcome back to the Analyst Desk. I am Milos Dometic. I would like to introduce to you my wonderful friends here, friends of the show on the desk. Ace, Pirate, and...
We are friends as well.
Yeah, we are. Huh?
Yeah. Play ranked together
Friends
sometimes.
of each other. Friends of the show.
Yeah. Friends of the show.
Friends of everyone.
Friends of everyone.
In fact, Tim's name in Siege on the privacy mode is like "Be nice" or something like that.
Nice is best.
Nice is best. That's it. Yeah.
I'll have to change it now. But.
Sorry.
Thanks,
Jack, you
the
are...
non-privacy mode that I've just announced to thousands of people.
You're something else. Let's talk about Rogue in this case, Ace, because last Playday, they took down BDS 8-6. It was a massive piece for them. They got 2 points. They took down a massive opponent and stopped them from breaking into the top 4. Can they repeat it against the Heroic?
Well, it was a big comeback for them, wasn't it? Because they'd had the upset against Wolves, and it was a question that we had. How will Rogue bounce back? How will they deal with adversity? And they dealt with it pretty well. Coming up against Heroic, I feel like that's a question that is in my mind for Heroic as well. They have had ups and downs so far this stage. It hasn't all been one way for them. So I think there's a good opportunity for Rogue here today, yeah.
And Rogue, what if we talk about them a bit more in detail, Fresh? Do you happen to have a telestration?
Do you know what? It's funny you ask that, Milos, because I do have a telestration.
As if he knows.
Just about Rogue. It's as if we know and we plan this out.
Always ready.
So I'm going to scoot. Oh, I did it wrong. I'm going to...
We were so close.
I did a big swipe and it went wrong. I'm going to scoot on over to Rogue. And the message that I want to convey about Rogue is the same message that I conveyed in the pre-show about Heroic, about how they operate as one unit, as a team. The same message I convey about Wolves. And that's why they're the best 3 teams in my mind. And realistically, this is probably a DPEC appreciation telestration, because Spoit gets 2 kills in this telestration, but I want to show the teamwork that goes into it. So it's from last week against BDS, 5-2 up. Now, they do go on to 6 from this round. Spoit gets a kill. He's down here, actually, inside of stock. Manages to get a kill from the window, and then moves back to Janitor Hallway and gets himself another kill. So 2 kills, and you're thinking, oh, yeah, Spoit, best player in the world, getting loads of kills. Not saying he's a bad player whatsoever. But as we roll this clip through, what you're actually going to see is there's an Echo drone from DPEC giving him the information and a C4 used by Crime. You just see it get thrown up just there. I'm going to zoom in just for those that can't quite see. So in terms of the engagement, you've got DPEC giving out information, Crime trying to use C4 based upon that information, and Spoit's gun. And this is how the best teams navigate themselves basically into a 3v, 1-2 gunfight there for Rogue. And that initial gunfight gets Spoit 2 kills. And we're going to see it from Spoit's point of view now. The drone gives out the information. He does that like ranked ratty thing. You know, he is the #1 champion in all of Rainbow Six Siege. He manages to shoot out the side of the window without actually getting the glass, as you see here. So it doesn't give any sound away to get the first kill. So his mechanics are on point, but the information comes really well from DPEC. And he knows the second guy's coming because you could just see, if I can go back just and get the right frame, right there, it's going to be right in the background. There's an Echo drone right in the air giving the information for him. So he's not just running around gunning people, he's doing it with information from his team.
Thank you very much for that, Jack. And that last shot was incredible, guided by the Yokai drone, as you so clearly pointed out. Heroic on the other side, Tim. Last Playday, they got the win against Outsiders. That was last Monday, but it seems like something is missing a bit for them to really push forward.
Yeah, it does a little bit. It just seems that they're not quite clicking like they did previously. You know, they had a good stage 1, but we've had good performances from Benja, from Gorgona, from the players we would expect, but just need a little bit more teamwork.
So our map for this series, which one will it be? 8 are out, 1 is left, and who'll have the last say? It'll be Rogue this time. Cafe Dostoevsky banned out as Clubhouse will be our decider. Rogue start off on defense. Heroic have opted for attack. Jack?
It was a map that I had as a potential map, but one that I thought I would be wary of if I was Rogue. If you look how they played when they played against Wolves on this map, Wolves caught them out, particularly when Rogue were on the defence, and that's the starting side for them. Wolves caught them out, punishing that early aggression, that double jump out from Spoit and Crime that got punished, and then rushing on them. the teams controlled the attack really well against Wolves, so I'm hoping we see some slightly different defenses, a little bit more information, I think I would like to see from the side of Rogue.
Final thoughts, Tim? Lobby's ready.
I think it's going to be a very close game, closer than we might expect. I think Heroic are going to turn up, possibly in overtime here.
All right, thank you very much. Fresh and ace, let's toss it to our casters. It's Hap and enjoy.
Thank you very much, Milosh. And yes, a very important game coming up. My name is Hap. That's Amy. We are going to be bringing you that important game. Whoever wins this is going to be finding themselves in a very, very good spot to be qualifying for Berlin. It's not going to be 100% confirmed.
No.
However, like 90, 95%, that is definitely what we will be looking at.
Oh.
But more importantly, the team that will lose is the one that is literally in the line of fire for every other team that's willing to make it.
Exactly. So we have to look at how the results have gone today. We started the day with 3 teams all tied up on a delicious 12 points from 2nd, 3rd and 4th to now having a distance. M&M, who were in 4th, found 3 points. Wolves, who were in 1st, found 3. That guaranteed. Rogue and Heroic, they currently sit on 12 apiece. BDS and Na'Vi both on 9. Outsiders and G2 7 to 6, but they still have to play. So one of them could find 3 points and either get to 9 or 10. Whoever loses this game is next in line. It's not a matter of you'll lose all 3. Even if you just lose 2, you're still next in line, and that is not a good place.
It's definitely not a good place, but luckily BDS and Na'Vi have both played and have lost, so they have not been able to pick up any points, which gives that bit of security to both Heroic and Rogue. Of course, with 2 more play days after this one, 6 points to be gained, having that 3-point lead is that one buffer, that one loss extra you can afford before you start getting into trouble. Now, the alibi ban is not one you often see, and it's being tossed in by Heroic, so I can only imagine it is to counter a certain Swedish player on the side of Rogue. It's just a guess.
Just a guess. Yeah, I mean, why not? Why not start to target ban? Why not start to bring some problems? Club, it's the place where everybody goes. It's the place where everybody knows. Leon, GG, what do I play? Oryx.
It's been given an operator by his opponents there, so it's very, very nice to like to think along.
Well, let's see who's woken up and had their steaks this morning. They need to try and bring everything to this fight. Rogue, starting on their defense, Church and Arsenal. Club is a map that everybody knows. Everybody knows Club. You know Club?
I know Club.
I know Club. Everybody knows Club. And it's seeing what changes can come from it. Now, Rogue, they've been impressively aggressive. They get adventurous. They get sort of big. And Heroic, some of the best points that we've seen them is actually one of 2 things. It's either a consistent pop-off of a player like Benja and Gorgona getting in aggressive, or, to be honest, a backline of Uno and Grizzly has kept having really sharp moments throughout this season so far.
It's funny you mentioned, I was just actually going to look back at the previous game we had between these two. And of course, both made their changes to the lineup. But if you look at it, back down Sloth, 18 on 6.
Pretty good game.
Against Rogue. Benja, 11 on 6. And Gorgona coming in 3rd with 5 on 5. On the other side, we had Crying, 7-8. Kanto, 7-7. Then Rips, who's no longer with Rogue, of course, with that 6-9. That was a Chalet match, 7-3-1 by Heroic. So, you know, Sloth was a major factor in that game, but he hasn't really been able to show up to that same extent yet throughout this stage.
Now, how do you solve a problem like Spoit? Well, actually, when he's on his defense, it's a little bit easier. We did see him play some slightly better plays last time, but look at this, a pace where they're just cutting themselves down towards the side. Here we go. Onto Blue, the pressure, swing around onto the second box. The Azami survives, that's the important part, but Sloth gets the crossfire onto Leon. It's spread and locked in. Deepak finds a fight. Spoit is a little bit locked out here on the door. Gonna swing and pepper some bullets, but in the meantime, they've hit a bit of a slow. They're still trying to drive towards the site and get the kit down, and it seems like Uno should be able to get this off. A quick rotation and a play round from Rogue onto the far side, but it's a post-plant situation, a fight. Scrappy onto the far side. Deepak with 1 and Kanto with the 2nd, but Sloth takes out Crying down the long corridor, pings, and a big rotation over the top. Benja's locking it in, the 2 versus 2. They have themselves still. Spoit alive, rotating round onto the door itself, looking for the spray. Round onto the side of Blue, there's a ping, doesn't get the full connection, can't quite get it either side. Deepak is looking for everything, but he's run out of bullets, and they're running out of time. Spoit's rotated his way around to the kit. They might try and get the cover on the long arm here. No, it's Benja down on the fight. The They're looking for the aggression. Gorgona is able to find Spoit. It's a 1 versus 1, but he can't find it. Heroic. And Gorgona backpedaling out the door. They get us off to the races.
A very quick start here indeed from Heroic. They realized there was a weakness on the side and they managed to abuse it to the fullest extent. A good attempt though from Rogue to try and come back. They brought it quite close. An effective 1 and 2, you have to say, clutched out eventually by Heroic. Of course, having that time in their favor as they both tried to hunt down that last standing member on a Heroic. And they win that very first round on the attack here on Club. Now, we're not going back to that basement straight away. First headed towards CCTV, a site not often shown anymore. It's a site that teams are trying to shift away from little bit by bit. And as it gets picked now by Rogue, you are left to wonder, do they have something special up here? Or do they just feel more comfortable playing it? Because if I pull up the map stats quickly,
Pull him up.
I'm pulling them up. We have a... Oh, that's not good. A 17%
no.
defensive win rate.
When you look at a stat, pause and go, oh, that's not good.
Yeah, 17% win rate for defense on EU.
Hey, I have a question for you. What's the win rate of attack and defense today?
Yeah, well, that's very defense-sided. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I'm more so thinking towards like a 85% to 90% defensive win rate.
I might be 1 or 2 wrong, but out of all the rounds played today, there have only been 5 attacking rounds won. 5.
Yeah, we've definitely had...
And that's out of an 8-6, a 7-5, and a 7-1. 5 of those have been attacker win rounds.
Yeah, today's very defense-sided. So who knows? Maybe that 17% is turning to become a little bit higher today. But this is the bread and butter of Siege. This side, literally, step by step, everybody knows how to do it, and it's going to be a very quick opening. Attempted impacts failing to hit, and that's going to be a good opening there, but the lack of accuracy from Uno is going to stop him from finding his army.
Now, that wall is a little bit of a hop, a little bit less kind of viable to just get a quick plant onto Tuck, but still, the pace that Heroic are hitting this map is impressive. Very quick towards the drive-in. Now they're going to see if they can... Well, they almost get Kanto with the depth charge there. Leon should be able to get the pick back up. Nobody was in stock to get a direct spray around. Spoit is playing around lounge. He's gone to the half step. He's making sure that nobody moves in to get that clarity onto that kill there. They're now getting open garage underneath Deepek. Again, if this is the bread and butter of Siege, this is the best way that people have found to spread it. They find that opening onto CC, go for the bottom of garage, get control of here, and then try and cross themselves behind the server stack.
Now, there is one of those ADSs. They need to make sure that these grenades are not reaching Deepek. As long as you have control of the rafters, you are in control of the site, especially with the default opening out there. So that's going to be the first concussion, not eaten by the ADS. That's good for Deepek. They might think there's nothing out there now. Spoit takes a small amount of damage, but he gets naded out anyway, as he's not in the right position. And that is an entry, a very important one for Heroic.
There it is. But Spoit finds him from underneath Oil Pit, screamed his way through, and just gets an escape sloth. Couldn't get the clarity, but finally Uno does. And there it is, that heroic connectivity that seems to stretch itself over a lot of the maps. 50 seconds now. And they have those 2 big bits of control to try and get a bit of a drive through. That his army makes things awkward, but not impossible to start doing the play you want to. And the questions that are posed now is, well, what do you have to stop this Rogue? Apart from a bit of attention paid towards it, there's nothing to throw over the top. No canisters, no C4s, just a lot of attention. Gorgona, he's digging his way underneath, still has 2 grenades and might try and cause some trouble with them. They seem to be flirting around with angles, but look how low health everybody is. They know they cannot be in this territory because of this very reason. They'll suffer on the split of it. Sloth's still trying to find a swing and a fight. They have a big stretch of the players smashing through that barricade quite late, but how's the push going to come through? Covered in smokes and blinded. He cannot act and cannot swing. Gorgona does find Kanto on the door, and now the plant is going down. Leon, he's looking for an engagement, can't find the second. The plant is going to get itself onto the ground and crying. He's trying to fight his way into the site. Gorgona once again is the last kill of the round, and that's 2 for 2 for Heroic.
It's 2 for 2, but I really have to give some credit towards the planting position there. They knew what they had under control. There was no one in cash. There could be someone on red. There's definitely someone in construction. What do? You plant next to that window. It could be dangerous, yes, but if someone manages to peek through that smoke, the server stack plan could have been ended. That would have been the time running out, and that would have been Rogue that wins the round. So they put it into a position behind the keeper barrier to use the defense setup to their own advantage. And with that, Heroic find that second round. And now the gym and bedroom is to be called up next here by Rogue, who are still looking to find themselves a victory. Now, the Church in Arsenal is by far, if you look at sample size, is a normal defensive win rate. It's like 48%. It's not quite the 50, but, you know, it is still out there. Master and Jim, that is 29%. If you then look towards Bar and Stage, was played 6 times, just as much as Cash and CCTV, even though we're adding one on that extra now. 83% defensive win rate there. So somehow Bar and Stage has become a very viable side.
This is that interesting statistic that I loved about the start of the day from the fantastic work by Spra Bunny.
And Bunny and Ref, yes.
Is that the win is 96, and then it drops to almost 50% for the loss. It's such an extreme today.
It's a do or die.
It is. Not entire death, but halving the chances.
One of your 9 lives that you lose, but in this case, one of your 2 lives that you lose.
Yeah.
So,
You've already lost.
we've already been through one of them, a couple of them. But either way, that's it. It's such high impact. It's such high pressure for this matchup, Emmy. And with that, both these teams will feel it. But if you look at it now, Heroic has definitely been dealing with this pressure better because they just decide to, you know what is the best way to deal with pressure? Put up the pressure even more and just rush the side and use this high pace. They have been so, well used these last couple of rounds. And normally this is Rogue's playstyle.
Well, that's it. Heroic sort of giving them a taste of their own medicine. We've had 2 rounds in the space of 1.5, and now we're going to see if this one can try and start to lean its way towards either of them. Benja's underneath with grenades. We've got Sloth on the Nook. Might try and make an entirely slow roll, but actually it seems like someone else has stacked into the place. Benja being droned ahead by Sloth, who can sort of play himself now underneath in billiards. Maybe, yeah, try and double up with these grenades, and will they catch him? Yes, Kanto, wounded last round, killed this by the depth charge from underneath. The early blow is theirs once again.
Don't know if they had a camera on the side guiding that grenade or if they just had a general. I think that's a beautiful nade. However, Kryne will be able to just sneak up far enough and find Sloth. Now instantly decides to fall back again. Spot still around the strip area. It seems like that first floor is not completely under control, but that's 2 players off site. And Heroic realized that, I think. And Heroic is instantly going for a bit of a push here. Benja just trying to push in, and Grizzly getting a grenade kill.
Oh, it's such a clever read. As you said, they knew they were the players off site and said, well, the site is ours. All that's left now in a 2 versus 1. They know where he is, but he doesn't really care. Peeks and slaps Benja off the map, pulls himself back. Gorgona, he's currently holding plant. Is he aware there's going to be a bit of movement up and see if he can try and force him off? Swings and takes the fight! And there is Rogue! And I would say I'm on the edge of my seat, but I've already pushed it far away. This is a stand and scream kind of game.
That's definitely a very important round here. Kryne managing to pick up that quad kill. Starts off, of course, with Sloth inside of the bathroom. That relieves a bit of that vertical pressure. Any potential grenades that could still be coming out, but also someone creeping up those main stairs. Suddenly, you are the ones that have that under control. But there's a good read from Heroic, though. Hey, that's 2 players offside. That means it is going to be a 4v2 that we're actually going to be fighting. And they won that fight, just not against Kryne when he decided to go and retake that side. And with that, Rogue are able to find that first defensive round onto... That is going to be Master and Jim.
This was lucky.
That should have been the kill, but Kryne was just, I think, a meter or 2 far enough up to not get picked up. And this is just a beautiful shot. It's like the quick peek, instantly following up on it.
That is the kind of gunplay where you meet a devil at the crossroads to one. That's the skill of like, why can't I do that?
It's a lot of practice.
Why
I think that's
that
part of like the 10,000 hour rule.
Oh, it's good. I think the surviving of the nade was lucky, and he made sure to make that luck count with the swing round. Obviously pushed that, got the kill, sure. And then
it's that siege timing, right? It's like
siege timing. It happens. It's a part of this game. If that grenade was either cooked a little bit more, if he'd come a little bit later, we're talking fractions of a second.
It's like half a second,
difference.
possibly.
Even less. Even less than that. and that's him gone. And
That's
that's
a round
that
gone.
round heroic.
Exactly. It could have been 3-0 right now if that grenade just landed a little bit different. But we always talk in what ifs. And well, it's not really necessary at this point. You might look back at the end of the game and be like, oh, what if that grenade, right? That's always the dangerous thing that you want to head into at some point. Either way, we're up on that top floor currently with a bit of a roam setup because we're down in the basement, Emmy. And look at how many people are currently offside.
That's it. Instead, Heroic aren't going to drive themselves all the way through onto site. They're going for the fight, for the roam. This grenade is going to try and find itself through 2 walls. No, Benja pulls off and hopes he can take the firefight as they realize more and more ground is being closed around Rogue. Going with pressure here. Grizzly, he's opened up Jacuzzi wall. Look at the positioning that Heroic's getting, and it's a full-handed catch around the roam. And you can see now Rogue has taken the drops on hatches and pulling themselves back. 1:20 wasted, and no bodies removed out the side of Rogue here. Ryan's going to go for an adventure, finds himself exploring towards the club on the far side, and just might cause some problems a little later, or at least force some play. Spoit in the meantime is hoping to catch some drones, finds one on the top and protects the player inside strip. Kanto's in that position as well, but you can see them, finding the breach, but Kanto actually finds the fight before Benja swings around. I was going to say they're locking it down from above, but he's at least able to get one on his way out the door. Crying, good luck, my friend, kisses and goodbye. You are now on your own for the rest of this round.
Managed to find at least one, though. That's Sloth out of the equation. That's grenades gone. Also, some of your soft breach potential you might otherwise like to use on that kitchen hatch or around it. And now Heroic, they need to regroup. They need to rethink their strategy. And with rotations coming around, it seems like Uno might be either wondering to open up the kitchen hatch or maybe even go for a bit of dirt, as staircases all around are currently being approached by the side of Heroic, but they haven't actually figured out about the roam or about the Oryx that's still around and could just Ramadash back into existence, take out a double, maybe even a triple kill if they're lucky.
That's it. All the pressure and presence is being paid. They're down the main stairs, and Grizzly's finding a body at the end of it. Deepak, he rotates his way over to Church, just sees the tail end of some trace shots, but it's Cryan creeping his way around if he can get the take here above the hatch. Oh, he doesn't get the connection. There's the follow-up. Spoit finds one inside the site as well. Benja keeps the pace going, but Spoit is buried on the back of Church and sending them to the next level. Spoit with a drift around the outside. Praise be. Rogue, 2 apiece.
I think that's what we call a Ferrari peak. Just running around the corner. You realize the pressure was on, and it's like, well, I'm either going to get pre-fired or I'm going to step out myself on my own terms and I'm going to take that fight. So, 2-2. Equalize that score indeed, and Cash is coming up next again. That site, that is just so hard to win around an EUL. Now, have they thought of something new? Are they going to do the exact same thing, but probably not die from grenades this time? You have to wait to find out.
Oh, this game is fun.
It is definitely fun. It's like, to be fair, when Heroic got those first 2 rounds, with the amount of aggression and pace they had, and with the lack of a response that Rogue was able to put up, I was like, this shouldn't be a 7-0 in the making, or a 7-1, or a 7-2. But then Rogue started to come back after Cryan, managed to get that quad kill, the oh-so-important quad kill, because that last round, they looked to be a lot more in control.
I think one of the things that we have to sort of look at is when Heroic has stumbled, most notably was versus Secret on Bank, where they sort of lost sight of roamers. There was a lot of flank play, a lot of players coming in round from the opposite side that they just were tucked into a corner. They didn't quite expect it, and it kept on happening. Now, Rogue didn't really have that ability because Heroic was so laser beamed on towards the site and the objective. The second round, they were outside for most of it. The first round, they were inside within the blink of it. Since then, what we're seeing from Cryan, obviously, a 3K with a 2 versus 1 clutch is huge. And in that round as well, being off in strip, being able to strike his way around on the opposite side, that's what Rogue needs to punish. About Heroic here, once again, quick pace paid towards the wall. You obviously have, well, not a huge amount to stop any of this, so they should be able to get it open pretty quickly beyond the mute.
This is always a bit dangerous when you want to throw that grenade and you know there's an Azami on the board. If they really want to, they can just lock it off as soon as you throw that grenade. You might actually end up killing yourself, but they're in very quick.
They're in, they find the fight. Azami, she's removed just on the split of it. A bit of a smoke canister pops a little too late. Benja, he's behind the default spot, but he gets knocked out. The kit didn't make the journey as well. We saw them drop off. Rogue, a very quick reaction there, but the sort of Saving Private Benja has been able to give them the control of Garage. Cryin, once again, a little bit loose, a little bit slippy, is able to find Gorgona, puts the body balance into their favor. Now they don't have the watch under lounge. They might have to dedicate someone to it. Sloth, he's going to get just some of this pop round onto that bulletproof by themselves. More of a route through and then start the droning process. They have a lot of time. That's the big thing about these rush rounds, is if things fall apart, at least you can try and rebuild them.
I think the reason they fell off is because they actually opened up the garage rafters. They got the kill there, and that just opens up a whole lot of new avenues. You don't have to challenge that anymore. You can just walk freely up until that point. If they would have continued, you might have been flanked, you might have been overwhelmed. So I think they decided to, you know what, we have that important kill. We have the garage under control. We only have to pay one body for it in the meantime too, but let's try and work from there. Let's see if in that way we're going to be able to get a more strategic kind of plan down.
Minute, and Leon, he's found himself hot-footing it to a new location, but here's flashes, pings, grenades over the top. That one does a lot of damage to maybe more of his confidence than anything as he pulls himself back. There's a bit of a drop and a rotate. Cryin might see if he can cause some trouble, but once again, he's going to hold off. He knows when to strike, and he's been able to do it pretty well before. Grizzly does find Kanto, and Uno, he's going to try and move in. Leon, he still has the chance at canistering off at least another default plant, and they're aware of this. 30 seconds. They've got to try and make this stick as the Jaeger moves in underneath. It's Uno trying to put pressure onto Red. They had a call of this movement. They had a watch and the sound of a rappel. Where are you going to go, Cryin? That's the big idea as Uno's going for the plant itself. They're just round on Tuck. He pulls off. Concerned about the pressure. The shotgun gets a reveal on a player, but it's two apiece. Suddenly it's just Cryin. Once again, do they know where he is? Well, the pings are coming through. There's an awareness. He's going to go underneath and try and get the kill in time, but he can't quite find the angle. The spray is a little bit missed, and, well, now they definitely know where he is. A rotation round. With garage control, they can get themselves stacked up. They have outside CC. It seems like they have an awareness of him going for the entrance, the pings and the stuns, and they just pull out of there. It's not worth even risking the fight when you have somebody locked down. Heroic find their third.
At that point, right, it's 45 seconds. You waste as much time as you can, and that's why that jump out came through. Well played by them there. They made good use of what they had in rafters, and actually that bait plant caused so much panic in Rogue that they just went out with that shotgun, ran out from Red at the same time. I believe it was Leon and Spoit, and they both got picked up in a matter of seconds, and suddenly you're finding yourself in a 1v3. Now, maybe if Cryin put a little bit more faith in the actual ping, he could have been able to stop it in time, but at that same time, though, Plant was already almost going down, so might have done some damage, but probably nothing more than that. And that puts us on that 3-2. Back towards the gym and bedroom we go, however, as Rogue deciding that this is where they need to close off this half before they go over towards the attack themselves on a clubhouse that, for now, I mean, we've seen 3 very dominant heroic rounds. One of them that should have been theirs but was clutched up, and the other round was purely Rogues on their merit. So far, Heroic definitely in the driver's seat of this game, but there's always 2 halves to a game of Siege, Emmy, and that might just change as quickly as a side swap at the end of this round.
I think that's it as well. Neither team has felt that this is entirely out of their hands. I think when you have 2 top rosters fighting for a spot at Majors in that top 4, you kind of want them to have that energy of, we can settle this, we can better them, let us keep playing, let us keep going, coach, until the coach pulls them in, reins them down and says, look, we've got to try this. That's that energy I'm getting from these 2 teams. They know how they want to butt heads with each other, and they're making sure that the antlers connect. But who is going to have that sneaky little swing and movement that just shakes the opponent enough? Could it be this, the Nook? The slow creep and approach all the way from the basement with that disguise up. They might not have the full reveal, but they are pretty good with those grenades from underneath, and that's always a problem Rogue has to be aware of.
Definitely is. I mean, we've seen quite some damage being done by them here, and as Kanto is closing off these windows, they definitely get an idea of, all right, there's one in the exact same corner again, as where we managed to get a grenade kill before, so Heroic might be eyeing up those opportunities to use them later on. That's the drone, by the way, in the bathroom. Uno is going to be able to be taken out now. Gorgona's in already, however, gets the wall bang onto Kanto, and now they have the bathroom under control.
Instantly sprays towards the door, looks for the fight, onto a little bit of a pullback from Deepek there. The grenade is a bit close, so just going to pull himself back. That's always terrifying when it starts floating in your face, but takes the kill. Leon tried to go around with the shotgun. Deepek's holding him just in case he pulls himself out and takes the kill himself back, but cannot stick himself. Uno, they're trying to get the kid in. At the minute, it's a 3 versus 3 with the fact that the Nook's on the far side of Narnia, and, well, Heroic's aware of that. They don't want to overcommit and overextend, because if they lose the advantage, then suddenly they've lost everything that might be the drive on the site itself. So instead, rebuild. They have utility. They have things in their pockets, and it's one of the things Heroic do well is know when to step off the gas.
They should have been a bit quicker on the gas, though, because it was just that one player near the door and one near the main staircase. It could have been in Jim right behind the reinforced wall to try and get a plan down. That grenade, though, might actually land. No, Deepek will still survive. Jumps up on top of the bed, gets spotted out. He needs to be very careful here, because just a little bit of damage and his round is going to be over. And as he digs in deep behind the weights, he's going to be able to potentially deny that breach from being used.
This is it. Look at the angles they've got themselves set up. Spoit suffers inside logistics. I think he might have still been holding onto the hatch, which might be getting a bit of presence. There's somebody pushing up main stairs. Sloth, he's going to see if he can swing for the fight. The camera isn't the reveal, but they trade it out, and Deepek finds Uno, leaving just. Grizzly and Benja trying to build it. Deepek, oh, he's making a run for it. He's trying to get out of there and cause some problems elsewhere. Crying, he's holding onto an angle. He can't get up the hatch. It was watched. Well played by Grizzly. Almost a great idea, but here, there's the swing, there's the fear of 1 versus 1, 9 seconds. Benja, he's got the kit, he's got to see if he can stick it tucked in behind the heavy bits of machinery just to buy himself some time. Crying's going to sprint in. They're almost out. He goes for the swing.
No.
He's in. Oh! Crying gets another. How many rounds are his, most importantly? 3 are Rogues at least. We are even for the half.
I was so afraid there. That was a magazine completely almost dumped into the Yana there, and if that would have gone, like, without the kill, the Yana could have completed the plan, turn it around, and it's going to get that tap back onto Crying there. But I was actually going to say Deepek dropped that hatch onto Billiards. At the very same time, someone moved from bar up towards the main stairs. Neither heard each other. And then as soon as Deepek's like, all right, this is my time to jump up the hatch, he actually gets caught off by the exact same player. It's unfortunate. They found each other at the end either way. Now 3-3. And the sides have swapped. And Heroic is on the defense. Rogue needs to set the pace now. Are they going to start this off with a rush just as quickly as Heroic was able to go for early on? Or is Heroic setup a bit more centered around that? I mean, I currently count 4 people actually still on the ground floor, but it is subject to change. Because the thing is, with Rogue, there was only 1 or 2 players on the direct site. You find one of them, suddenly you have a good opportunity to go for a plant.
Now we get that taste. And I know it's something we talked about before when we were casting earlier on, is sometimes teams are just feeling it on one side or the other. Both these teams have felt like they're playing a brawl. I'm actually surprised that we had as many plants as we did based on just the efficiency at getting into each other's faces and getting kills. But it's a game that Heroic played well. Rogue, they like to find aggression. They love to find fights and sort of look for that. They know how to rotate things as well, but it's down to Heroic, I think, to see how much they step up and they continue that in the faces of the potential adversity. Talking of, Spoit.
Oh! Ouch! That.
It was just talking of Spoit. Bang.
It's just one click.
And that's what he does. Now, Leon, he's going to see if he can drive his way down dirt. They'll hear that Monty and just get out of there. That's why he does that. Gives that audio cue. So they all go, there's a Monty in dirt, there's a Monty in dirt.
He also saw it was a SAS operator. The chance is big it was smoke, so Leon quickly went out as well because he doesn't want to get stuck in the smoke, lose his life there without any support being there. And as you look right now, Grizzly is like, hey, I am smoke. I can deal with that there. It's the first, but he gets taken out. Spoit has the support, and now Leon is free to just move up.
Hatch destruction starts to come through here. Leon did suffer on the side of a C4 based on his health and the lack of one in the pockets of Uno, but he can still get himself all the way stacked towards that door itself. A 5 versus 3. 2 quick kills, 1 closer to the site, 1 above it, and at this point, the site itself is starting to feel some destruction. Gorgona, he's able to get a little bit back in, and Benja steps up and finds Deepek. Suddenly, Wow, should have paid attention towards above you. There it is. Both impacts played. The player was a bit loose. They're trying to find their way over the shield, and it's not going to be easy, but he's able to get one. He's looking for two, but it's Spoit once again. The triple kill and the bearing of the mountain and the Swede. And now it's just Benja left to see if he can try and put some competition back against his Nordic brethren.
Oh, a trick kill. Well,
technically.
he put it back to each other. They both take each other out. The Monty gets the final cam as he was on that first seed, but a good use of that Montaigne there, just using him to bait out these players. The smoke went a bit aggressive, instantly picked up by Spoit. And if there's any player you want to have watching over your shoulder,
I mean,
it is going to be
if you're
Spoit. Just
like-
look at that response time.
If you're given a list of who do I want, if I'm playing Monty, who do I want?
Yeah,
He's up there.
It's probably Spoit is up there. Maybe Shaiko as well, with his crazy flicks he has every now and then. I think I put Benja on there as well. Just generally the people with the very quick response times, you know?
It was good for Heroic. I mean, they got a couple of kills back. I think that sort of says a lot, and one being loose, one being a problem off the board as well. It sort of hints at the idea of that danger I talked about, something that Heroic suffered at the hands of having that loose player. Club can offer it, and the thing is sometimes it offers it and they still get killed, but it takes a long time to clear them based on the structure of the map, and time is such a precious resource.
I think though, like, okay, yes, they were in the kitchen. Yes, we saw 2 kills come down in the kitchen, but I don't think it was ever really the intent to be out there fully, right? Because you see that push coming through in the actual dirt tunnel. That is going to be your main arrowhead. The kitchen is just for the pressure to really remove anybody playing in that corner there, potentially even find yourself in a good position for a post plan. It's unfortunate you lose those 2 players there, but it's not going to be that win condition. It is going to be the Monty being able to make it in. It's going to be trying to get that plant through in the end. Of course, we didn't get that far because all the kills came through before the plant even happened. But with those 2 players dying, it's not like the complete strategy fell apart.
Well, there is a player loose. It's Benja ready to do maybe a run out here onto the garage side, hoping people get stacked up, but he doesn't entirely feel confident. The breach should pop through there onto the CC wall. Leon's able and happy to head his way over. You limit their rotation. You try and force them out of a location and see what dramas you can cause, and that's actually caused Benja to head up towards rafters, be a bit of a surprise strike. Spoit, he's swinging himself wider and wider. There it is, looking for the angle, looking for it. Benja is gifted nothing. So now they have an idea that somebody's in that position. Are they going to force themselves to go for a clear or not? That's what the drones are doing. As I said, sometimes it's not just about getting the kills, but the time that you can take.
Flank drone being set up. Benja hears this, and he should know exactly where those drones go. Yeah, exactly. We'll take that one out, and we'll make sure that's not going to be too much of an issue anymore. But he doesn't stick around. He doesn't want to stay inside that garage, so moves over towards the launch area. As Slough actually finds 2 players here, but he's unable to connect to any of them.
Wow, they'll know that he's tucked in. Spoit is still desperately watching for a potential rotation from Benja, but obviously it's caught out elsewhere. It's got to be the guns of Rogue that start trying to find a bit of that whilst he holds it sort of down, but at some point you've got to make a move, and that's what they're trying to bait out, at least 1 kill. Heroic, they're giving some tastes, but importantly, they're not giving them the full bite, and that's caused this, a bit of a stall, a bit of a worry. And there's the first, finally. There's the second. Deepak suddenly gets a double. Grizzly finds Spoit, close tucked in. Now they can start to prep. There is a player underneath. Could be a big blow, but as the trades come together, suddenly, Bench has got to rotate once again. He's found himself hot-footing it for most of this round. Grizzly's inside the site, does some damage and downs Deepak. The kid is cold outside. There's the finish from Benja up. Stop. Now it's 2 versus 2. Bit of a flat fight, but Benja, he's able to get himself swanned in. Kanto versus Benja. Looking for Kanto!
He shouldn't win that gunfight, jumping over this vault hole here. He was about to be challenged, but that actually saved his life because he was being pre-fired, Emmy, on head level. What do? You jump over, your head level raises up about half a body. That allowed him to get the jump on him there. And now a tech timeout being called by Heroic because suddenly Rogue are about 2 rounds away from putting a very, very difficult task ahead of you, Heroic. Of knocking you down from instead of 90% up to about, what was it, 63?
Maybe even less.
Maybe even less?
I think it was like 57.
I'm pretty sure we can get the percentages as soon as we get back in.
Numbers.
It's beautiful numbers.
What do they mean?
Thank you, Sprabuni and Raf. Appreciate it.
It's this that I talked about here. When I said it earlier, around the turn of the half, or just before when it was 2-3, the teams want to try and do what they can inside the lobby.
Yeah.
Trying to match the pace of each other. Here, as I said, as well as the follow-up, we might see a bit of a change of that when it comes to the defense, because it's down to Heroic, for my money, to see if they can try and stop Rogue, who have been a great exercise and demonstration of attacking. It's close. And close 3 rounds in a row now is something that they can try and work on. There it is.
That's actually 64, so it's a little bit higher than I thought.
It's a little bit higher than I thought.
So,
Still a lot lower than 96.
yeah,
And a lot.
you're correct with that one. So, I mean, it's basically for both these teams. If they win in regulation, they need a extra point over the next 2 playdays to confirm themselves, or they need one of their opponents to leave points behind. Based on round differential, that's probably why Rogue has an even bigger one percentage, because it's more difficult for them to toss that one away compared to Heroic, because they're currently both in the same amount of points. Round differential being the first head-to-head. Head-to-head, the next one, tiebreaker, I'd say.
It's also worth noting their games in hand as well. Both of them still yet to play Na'Vi. And then Rogue has to play Pwns. Heroic has to play G2.
Still don't know which of these two will have the more difficult games ahead at that point.
You would assume...
you would assume G2's is tough.
Been able to lead in. There's an early fight. Do they really know if they've done anything? Kryan's going to pull himself back. Sloth didn't get one-shot beamed this time round, but you would assume Kryan's going to sort of take his sliver of health and take his ball and go play elsewhere.
He wants to use those grenades, right? That's the whole point. He tried to go for the same entry as Heroic used on their knock. It was not really allowed to happen. And thus is going to be pulling back, waiting for a bit of safe ground to appear, and after that use those grenades vertically to see if he can dispatch of any of these players. Now, quick openings here. Spoit was waiting for Deepak to blow up the breaching charge there, so he could instantly fire upon any player being there. Didn't find anyone, though.
That's it. That's teamwork. Try and give your gunner the best possible chance. Now they have themselves some control of construction, but this, a very cheeky Valkyrie cam.
He seems to know, yeah.
Yeah, he found it there. The pings came through from the drone, and that gets dropped over the top, and suddenly you can see somebody on red set themselves up a slightly different angle.
To just wiggle a meter away just so you don't have to deal with that. There comes the grenades, though. These might be quite big. Pings are being given away. I believe that is for the actual utility piece first, yes. Leon will be opening that one up. There's no one there to respond to it. No Bender trick, because Benja is looking to go on a bit of a roam towards the main stairs on the bedroom.
That's it. Deepak, I think, is watching it. He should have that angle locked down from the top. So if somebody comes round, that is something that Rogue's been quite good at. It's just being prepared for that. You can see the drone is there, and yep, Deepak has that fully watched, because unless there's an Oryx on the board, which there isn't, there's only really one route through. So you got to make sure that you have some clarity. You give yourself...
Oh, what a nade! That bounced off the wall!
Old teammates die hard. Kanto takes the grenade over the top, and now they're going to see if they can try and move towards it. Spoit finds Gorgona, and Benja finds the C4 onto Kanto. Now they have that potential awareness of the player behind them. Sloth stepped up to the top of red, and they've pulled themselves a little bit further back, draw some attention, and a lot of bullets as Leon finds Grizzly, leaving just Sloth on the site, but he does an important thing and gets a kill. Benja wants to slip past here, should get caught. Does. There was Kryan ready in position, and now 30 seconds, a 3 versus 1. Kryan is super low health, does still have, obviously, a grenade as Leon tries to get the plant down, doesn't need to. Rogue, 4 rounds in a row.
Can we get a replay, a super zoom, and slow motion on the grenade kill of Kanto? Because you know skipping stones, right?
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what happened there. I think it bounced off that little bit of the wall and continued on to Uno there. I don't know if I'm asking too much from production here.
I mean, you often...
I often do test them.
You asked for a statistic last round, this time in.
I know. I'm sorry. I like to ask and request
things. Can I have
things.
a picture of Fresh? Reversed, upside down, black and white. That spins around.
Can I get mine first? And after that, after that we can get yours. I'm just wondering.
Well, maybe.
I don't know if
we'll act like we might. But for now, we'll talk about Rogue.
Oh, there it comes.
We don't have a zoom, but we do have this, a Kanto. I'm
pretty sure it skips off the wall there.
Let's watch.
Like, look, just boop. Yeah, it skips off the wall and it bounces right into Uno. That's just perfect.
Stood where they wanted to put that thermite charge. To be honest, that's it. I don't even think that was a ping. that he didn't know a player
it's
was
just-
directly there. He was looking for any electrics on the wall so Leon could get the breach.
Or someone trying to place it at
Or
that
someone
point,
trying to
right?
place it.
It's
And it just was perfectly played. Okay, let's talk the statistics thing that came up before. So
Yes.
Rogue, even if they lose in OT, I think they still had an 84% chance of making the major.
yeah, something like that. So Rogue is doing some real good business for themselves.
Oh,
here.
great business.
The thing is, right, like they would be currently on 13 points. Overall, you need between 14 and 16 points to be qualified for the major. So they'd still need to find one somewhere to make sure that they are. And you know what? They can actually do that now. If they manage to win in OT, they will be on 14 points. But they can also just win in regulation, and that will be 15 points. That's just way better. Then you don't even have to win any other game anymore.
Wow. It's looking more and more likely. Sledge waits for the spray to come through and then gets his job done anyway. Can pull himself back. Just going to get the drone ready to use it later today because he knows if he rolls it through instantly, it will just get shot. And here, the Twitch is actually going to be that first lead, I was going to say, but no. A lot of awareness paid. They have the multiple angles, whether they were just caught on the rotate at the wrong possible time or not. That hatch is still being watched. So this Twitch drone, unless they send... Oh, no. They're going to bring it back around.
A different avenue to be discovered here. He fires to distract from his teammates. Where's the Electric Claw? There it is. Manages to take that out. Is going to lose a Twitch drone though, but it gives the opportunity for
Love play.
Leon to start opening up.
It's an important wall. It's an important wall to get open for this site. You have to isolate construction, and you isolate Sloth's point. He's able to find the one kill there. Once again, opens it up now. We say he sparks the life on attack. It's more than a spark. Can Heroic hold off with the man disadvantage? Uno, his army's trying to keep control of logistics hatch at this point. There's pressure coming across the bow and the windows itself. They're just seeing if they can get another gift, another little slip through onto an engagement, and nothing as of yet. Whether they put focus towards logistics, we're just going to let Spoit quickly move forward, seemingly clear his own utility, and now try and clear a fight. With that spray, you get the feeling they have an impression. Minute left.
There's still an Electroclaw placed on top of the Jacuzzi wall, so they need to clear that somehow. As zombie barriers are currently being put up, that's the kill from Kanto onto Gorgona. This might be the end of it if Uno didn't strike back just now.
Finds one, gonna get out of there, but doesn't find it all the way. The smoke didn't hide just enough of him. Leon was there, but Grizzly's there back. 30 seconds, a 3 versus 2. There is pings coming through from Benja. He's in a really tricky situation. If he's untested, which he is, there's one. They know where he is at this point. He's not able to survive. It's a 1 versus 1. Would it be any other way but Spoit?
Well played by Rogue there. Not quite sure why he stayed in that same position, because we're just going to get pre-fired there. But well done by Rogue. Some incredible attacks that we've seen from them here. They were able to outdo what Heroic was capable of here. And Leon, he's just shouting at the camera. I've no clue what he just said. I'm sure Milos will be asking that in a matter of seconds. But is it 99.4% confirmed? You might see Big ET on the major. We might see Spoid on the major. Their first times. The others have a bit more experience.
I mean, it was what they needed to do. The first half, a 3-3, pretty much split either way. The second, Rogue on attack, which is that terrifying thing that you prepare for. That's their half of their game. That's kind of why they prep themselves now for another couple of play days, but they are pretty much within touching distance of Berlin. It's not over for Heroic, but now every single other pair of eyes is on them, as yours will be after a quick break, onto our wonderful desk.